If you're truly doing what the Lord has called you to do, you're going to find yourself in a situation that you didn't think that would even happen. Okay? God likes to use opposites or the law of opposites to refine us the most. What does that mean? See, you don't be surprised. Okay? Do not be surprised if the Holy Spirit leads you to somewhere and then all of a sudden you're in a circumstance that just rubs you the wrong way. See, God loves to refine our character. That's what he's all about. He wants to transform our hearts. He wants to transform our minds, but he also wants to transform our hearts. And he does it the most in opposition. It's never usually in comfort. It's always in opposition. I'll show you why. See, Joseph had his Pharaoh. Daniel had his King Nebuchadnezzar. Jonah had his Nineveh. Jesus was led by the Holy Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. Opposites. I see this with a lot of people in the church. Unfortunately, what happens is that you hear them, they start complaining about the pastor or the message, saying it just doesn't feed me anymore. It's like it's not helping me. It's like they're like all they've become is actually they've become vacuums, spiritual vacuums, and they're just trying to eat, feed me, feed me, feed me. And what's really happening is that they've reached a threshold where their character is about to be refined or changed. They can either stay stagnant by constantly consuming, because usually what happens with spiritual hunger is that once you get really hungry and you don't know how to mature in your own faith, you start like getting all different types of sermons, you start sucking everything in. But God is really actually trying to refine them to mature and to feed themselves in the word, to strengthen themselves in the Lord, and to become a blessing to other people. There's a maturity thing that's happening. Usually they can't see that, but that's what's happening. I want to read this verse of Genesis 45, verses 1-5. It's a story of Joseph. You know about Joseph. He proclaimed about his prophecy that he saw. Then all of a sudden his brothers betray him. He gets sold into Egypt and he's there for some time and he gets shoved into prison. He has incredible favor. A bunch of stuff happens, but eventually he runs back into his brother's embrace again. And this is really important. Here it is, Genesis 45, verses 1-5. At last, Joseph could no longer control his feelings in front of his attendants and cried, "Get everyone away from me." So no one else was with him when Joseph revealed to his brothers who he was. He wept aloud, and the Egyptians heard, and Pharaoh's household heard. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is it true that my father is still alive?" His brothers couldn't answer him. They were so dumbfounded at seeing him. So they didn't even recognize him. They were just like, what is going on? Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come closer." And they came closer, and he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. But don't be sad that you sold me into slavery here, or angry at yourselves, because it was God who sent me ahead of you to preserve life." Hear that, to preserve life. There's something so important here. Joseph really was the perfect example of a person who had a transformed heart. While he was in Egypt, after everything he faced, as he was in prison, his heart was transformed. By the time he saw his family, he had a heart that was full of gratitude, and he had one thing in mind and one redemptive plan in his head: preserve life. See, many times when people get to the point of the threshold, they get either super, super spiritually hungry and they get very negative, or they get very, very vindictive. But in reality, what's happening is God is trying to transform your heart so that you go from a person who is vindictive or spiritually become like a spiritual vacuum to a person that is actually trying to preserve life. And God is about mercy above all things, and He desires mercy above judgment. I hope this blesses you and equips you in the mighty name of King Jesus.